Hello, this is the video demo for the Project Milestone 2, and the first objective I'm going to show is that the tank still moves and shoots the same way it did from the first milestone. So I press play. The player moves accordingly. So if the player presses D on the keyboard, tank rotates right, A, tank rotates left, S, tank goes backwards, and W on the keyboard makes the tank go forward, and it uses the turret as a reference point to what forward is. And using the space bar, the player will start shooting bullets. So that's all still the same from the first milestone. You can also edit it in the inspector if you want the player to either use WASD or the arrow keys. Onward to the second objective. The AI tanks. So if I just unplay it, first thing you'll see is the first tank the player will interact exhibits the chasing behavior. And second tank is the fleeing behavior personality, and the third tank is the patrolling behavior and personality. And I'll get into that a little bit more later. First, I'm going to continue on to the third objective, which is showing the text file. So the text file is in the GitHub project folder. As of now, the actual Unity project isn't actually in GitHub as of now. I'll be doing that after I'm done with this video. Over here, under the readme.md text file, this contains all the information on the and details on each AI tank's personality. As mentioned before, there's the chasing personality. Here's a description of it over here. Then there's the fleeing personality in this description, and the patrolling personality being detailed in the text file. Now going back to Unity. So over here, first tank is the chasing behavior. As its name infers, the AI tank will chase after the player tank and shoot at it. And then the second tank, fleeing, also as its name it suggests, this tank will start fleeing away from the player tank once it gets close to it. And the third one, patrolling behavior. The third tank exhibits the patrolling behavior. So actually, I could just go into the scripts to get more into detail. Scripts and AI scripts, AI controller. So over here, the AI controller. The AI controller script is the main script in charge of the finite state machine. And there's the AI chase controller script. This takes care of the specifically for the chasing behavior. Then you have the fleeing AI controller, which takes care of the fleeing behavior. As you can see, if I went back to the chasing behavior, first it'll go into idle mode and then chase, and then if the AI tank sees that the player is in sight, they'll start shooting. And then with the fleeing, first it'll enter idle mode, and then after some time, it'll exhibit the fleeing behavior. And then you have the AI patrol. Now, one problem I saw is that I couldn't put the patrolling mechanism in the finite state machine. Well, I mean, I could. The problem, though, that I saw is that when I put the patrolling mechanism or patrolling behavior in the finite state machine, I noticed that the AI tanks, its movement wasn't as fluid as it was compared to what it was compared to if the AI tank just had the AI patrolling script the AI patrolling behavior just run through its own script. But anyways, as you can see, here's the AI patrolling script in charge of the behavior for patrolling, which goes on into the next objective, which is the hearing, distance, noisemaker, and vision, field of view, line of sight, and distance. See if I go down here, here's the actually, yeah, it's still down here. Here's the where's the audio? Okay, yeah, here's the audio. Here's some of the variables for noise, for hearing, for giving the patrol tank the hearing property, and then up here is some variables for giving the patrolling tank some vision properties. And if I go down here, the update takes care of mostly all the patrolling stuff. Here you have the function definition for the noise check. So this is more for hearing. And then here's the function definition for go to noise position. Function definition for check line of sight. So this is where vision comes in hand. This is where the vision is being seen. The vision property is being seen. And then down here is the patrolling. And then here's the function definition for chasing player. This is also for vision properties. And then the facing player is also with vision. And then onward to the next objective. AI and player tanks use exactly the same components. So if I were to go into the tank data and it go into the tank shooter, and what are the scripts gonna go into? Tank data, tank controller, tank motor. Yeah, we can go into that. The tank motor, as you can see under the tank motor, tank controller, and tank data scripts, you'll notice that the AI tanks, and player tanks are using the same components for their motor as seen from the tank motor script, and the tank data and the tank shooter, the tank shooter component to give both the AI and the player the ability to shoot. And then onward to the next objective. Each AI controller is a unique finite state machine. So as mentioned before, finite state machine. If I go back to AI controller is the main script in charge of the finite state machine. AI chase controller script. It takes care of the specifically for the chasing behavior within this finite state machine. Then you have the AI controller script, which is in charge of specifically for the fleeing behavior in the finite state machine. And as I mentioned before, you can have, how I have it programmed, you can have the AI patrolling behavior in the finite state machine. Problem is the movement will not be as fluid as it was compared to having the patrolling behavior being exhibited through its own script. Next objective, all movement behaviors, chase, flee, patrol, etc. expanded to use object avoidance. So for the object avoidance, I use nav mesh agent, which is you can see here on the AI patroller script. I use a nav mesh agent to give the AI tanks the ability to avoid the walls, and I did that also by going to window, went to AI, navigation, went to bake, and then I pressed bake to give the tanks, the AI tanks, the ability to recognize walls and avoid the walls. Next objective, game manager exists. As you can see here, actually in the scripts folder, you can see the game manager script is all here. Next objective, bug and error free. So I would say that this is about 98% bug free. Maybe, yeah, I'd say 99% bug free. The only two, I guess, issues is the chasing tank. Even though I'll chase the player, it has a slight problem where it sometimes won't rotate. It won't rotate the turret sometimes. So if the player's in close proximity, Sometimes the chase AI doesn't detect that the player tank is right in front of its turn, so I'll still keep on shooting, even though the player tank might be like 2 degrees to the right or 2 degrees to the left. The chasing tank doesn't detect that sometimes, so sometimes I'll just keep shooting and missing all his shots. But sometimes also with the chasing mechanism, the uh, chasing tank will still sometimes hit its shots. And the second problem is as mentioned before, with the AI patrolling behavior. It can be inside the finite state machine, but its movement is a bit wonky, which is why it's under its own script. And then onward to the next objective, which is the commons. If I go back to Visual Studio, you can see all the scripts over here. They've got commons for the variables, the function calling, the if statements, if else statements, the function definitions, the switch statements, the cases. They all have their comments. And then next objective, project organization. Go back to Unity. As you can see, under the assets folder, there's one for art, free pack, which I'll get more into detail on this folder. There's one for objects, prefabs, scenes, and scripts. And then if you go into for example, the scripts folder, it's also split into 2 subfolders. You have the AI scripts folder, which contains all the AI scripts, and then you have a camera script folder that just contains the player camera script. And what else? I think the scenes also has some subfolders in there also, and the art folder has 2 subfolders to better organize the project. And then onward to the last objective to show is if I go back to assets, so as mentioned, here's the free pack folder. So the free pack folder is something I downloaded using the Unity asset store. And what this script contains is a bunch of free sound effects, and which goes into the final objective, game exceeds minimum requirements. I added a sound effect to the player tank when he shoots. So whenever the player presses the space bar to shoot, a cannon sound effect will go off. So I'm gonna play this, and might as well actually start showcasing the AI tanks while I'm at it. First, let me unmute the sound effect because I know it's unmuted right now. There's. Sorry about that. So if I press play. So if I keep going this way, yep, chasing the behavior is being exhibited by this tank. Oh, okay, never mind. Apparently it killed me. I'm going to start this back over again. So if I were to... Oh. I'm going to actually, just to make this quicker, rotate speed. Actually, you know what? No, I'll just keep playing it. So if I go this way, I'll still be killed. Okay, yeah. So if you press the space bar, sound effect is exhibited, and then over here, might as well show the chasing tank. So if I get close to it, it'll start fleeing. And then, as you can notice, okay, so if I go under scene, here's the chase tank. If I go under here, there's a variable here that can be edited. It's called enemy distance. So the bigger this value is, the further away this tank will travel. The smaller the value, then the less distance the tank will flee. So if I were to increase this to 10 or 11, you'll notice that the fleeing tank will start fleeing away from the player tank at a much larger distance. And then over here, tank number 3 is the patrolling tank. As you can see, it's using the patrol points. Over here, you have the first, second, third, and fourth patrol points. And as you'll notice, is the patrolling tank will not go in just a simple square shape. It'll actually randomly pick a patrol point and go to that specific patrol point. So as you can see, instead of going here to here to here, it immediately just went here, and then goes here, and then it goes over here. So yeah, it doesn't go into, it isn't gonna go straight into, I guess this is actually more of a rectangle shape. It won't traverse through a rectangle shape, it's not guaranteed. It'll actually start picking a random patrolling point to go to, and that just adds more into the patrolling behavior. And that's about it. That does it for the video demo for the second Project Milestone.